The Good Buddies Anime Podcast is hosted by two rowdy, foul-mouthed American cowboys. Listener discretion is advised.
Hey, Good Buddies, what's up, and welcome into the Good Buddies Anime Show. I'm your Good Buddy Roger.
And I am your good buddy Brandon.
And welcome in, Good Buddies. Welcome back, Brandon. We're going to talk about a fun one today.
Wait, what?
Talk about a fun one today.
Talk about...
Talking about a fun one today.
What is this voice you're affecting?
You know, dude,
what is this accent?
I'm just going in, dude. I just, you know.
All right, man. We are going to talk about phone. We are going to talk about phone today. We're going to talk about one of my favorite shows of the past year, let's say. Yep. I did put it on my best of last year list, even though it wasn't finished. That was probably a mistake because it should count for this year, obviously.
Well, and he's going to put on the best of this year, too.
You goddamn right. It's Ranking of Kings. Rad show. We're going to talk about. We have decided we're just going to talk about. We're not going to do a full-on review like we often do.
I'll tell you right now, my score is it's an animazing.
Yeah, it's an animazing for sure. But we are not going to talk about it like in depth. Like, we're just going to discuss it, how we feel about it, how the characters hit us, etc., etc. I'm thinking we're going to go for a little while just chatting, and then there will be a break. Maybe Roger will remember to put in a spoiler warning thing.
Yeah.
And like skip 2.
I won't remember to do that for him.
Oh, come on, buddy. Maybe he will. He probably won't remember to put a skip to this point to avoid spoilers, but we will be talking spoilers a little later in the episode. But let's get on into it. Ranking of Kings, friggin' fall 2021 through winter 2022 season. I, several times over that period when we would talk about what we're watching in the Ramble, would describe it as Game of Thrones, but like a very, very like fantastical fairy tale version of
you know, and I never soaked that in until I watched it. And then whenever I described it to people, I said, it's like Game of Thrones, except nobody fucks her sister.
Yep. Basically.
Yep. Or brother, whichever.
You even get a guy who chops off his hand. It's great. But yeah, it's a rad as hell show that centers around. So okay, let's take it from the top. Ranking of Kings. What's Ranking of Kings? That title means nothing to me. Well, Ranking of Kings, in this fantasy world, there are many different kingdoms and many different kings, and there is they are ranked straight up on different things. How
power ranking.
Yeah, straight up power rankings. How strong are they? Obviously, that's a big one. They're ferocity in combat and whatnot, raw strength and power, which isn't necessarily just strength, but also be magic and different things like that. We also have how well is their kingdom doing, how good are they at taking care of their people, how, secure the borders, shit like that. It's all these different things that go into it, and that is the world in which we are living. And our show centers around a sweet little cinnamon roll baby whose name is Boji. I'm a baby Boji. And he's just a little guy.
Yeah, he's just a little guy.
He's just a little guy.
But there's some special things about him.
Yeah, so the thing about Boji is he is deaf and he is mute. He cannot hear. He cannot speak. You find out pretty early on he can read lips. And one thing I think is cool about the show is they actually, from the beginning, have characters doing sign language.
Signing. I was gonna say that too. As
I have read, apparently that sign language is pretty dead on for Japanese sign language, which is really cool. I'm smacking these headphones that are on the table. My bad. But yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
I will say,
it's awesome.
Second half of the show, I feel like they dropped that a little bit, particularly toward the end when people realize, oh shit, he can read lips. But that's a thing that happens. And it also,
I kind of like it because it's a humbling moment. Every single time they say it, they're like,
ooh, I said something maybe I shouldn't have. I thought he couldn't hear me, but he can't hear me, but he can read my lips. Oh shit. Now I'm the asshole. Yeah, that happens. But then also, it also centers around this other little guy he meets, a little shadow creature named Kage. And it pretty much involved Boji is the prince of this kingdom. His daddy is boss or bose in the dub. Real quick.
In the dub they call him boss.
Yeah, I watched the subtitle of this one as it was airing. You and your girlfriend, who has her own opinion.
Excuse me, sir, my wife?
I'm so
sorry. That is my wife.
My wife watched the anime. I'm sorry. I always think girlfriend, and of course it's your wife. Okay. That's my bad.
She was my girlfriend for a long time.
Sorry, cat. But you watched it together, the dub of it more recently over the last few weeks.
Yes.
And
it is very good too.
So
it is a top tier dub.
We are probably gonna say some names differently on occasion.
Sure.
But yes, King Bose is this fucking giant who is the king of this kingdom. I think at the beginning he's ranked like 4th, 7th. He ain't number 1.
He's sick and dying.
Yeah, he is sick and dying. But he's also a super badass. And Boji, Bose is sick and dying. Boji, as his firstborn son, is rightfully next in line. So it's a story of this little guy. It begins the story of this little guy who's going to try and be a good king. He believes he can do it. He wants to be a good king. The rest of the people around him don't necessarily share his optimism. And so some stuff happens and some strings are pulled. That's the basics, and we can talk about more stuff later. But yeah, other major characters, you got obviously Boji, Kage, the little shadow dude who ends up hanging out with, who has his own little tragic backstory, and they end up becoming this little found friends because he's the only one who like will talk to him. Even though Kage starts out kind of scamming our dude, because that's just like the life he's accustomed to living, is doing what it takes to survive at other people's expense. But he ends up finding a kindred, a spirit in Boji, and they become fast friends. This is like episode 2 stuff, so I'm not giving anything away really.
Yeah.
And then we also have, let's see, Boji's got a brother.
Yeah.
The fucking Daida, who is what was the asshole kid from Game of Thrones?
I don't remember his name, but I did hate him. I didn't watch
that little
Game of Thrones.
Like if you watch Game of Thrones, that little bastard,
the little shithead,
that shitty kid king that everyone hated, product of incest. That guy, you could definitely look at Daida, Boji's brother, and say that's him, because he's a bit of an asshole. But also he does have skills to back up some of his assholishness. So yeah. You've also got the queen, not Boji's birth mother. She is not in the picture. Yeah. But his stepmom and his half brother's real mom, Queen Hilling.
Yep.
Who at the beginning sure is a jerk. And then later she becomes the best character in this show, in my humble opinion.
Yeah.
Roger, let's take a quick break. Do you have a favorite character?
It's that horse, man. The White King.
There's a chunky horse that shows up.
But if I had to pick beside there are these other 4 characters. Called the Big Four. There's Domus. There is
Appius.
Appies, yeah. There is Bebin, and there is Dorsha.
Yes. Dorsha. My boy Dorsha.
Yeah, I love Dorsha too. I really liked Bebin. Because the show does something really cool, and we'll probably touch on it more later. But like characters you think might be nefarious, sometimes they're not.
Yes, and we will touch on that later, I think. It also does a thing where like a thing I again described before when we would talk about it in our previous ramble.
But I love his design, by the way, too.
All their designs
I love
are very
his
good.
design. Is this even an anime?
It's an anime.
What qualifies? What makes something an anime? Does it just?
We are not getting into this discussion.
Is it just that it came from Japan?
We are not getting into this.
Or
discussion.
Is there a certain style to it?
I can't have this discussion.
I just want to know what do you define as an anime? What is your simple definition?
It's got a kick-ass Japanese intro and outro.
That's it.
Pretty much.
It just has the. It just got to.
And it's animated.
Yeah, it's animated.
Like
from,
the thing with
Japan.
The thing with the puppets, I get it, but I don't call that an anime. Well, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
there's also,
this does not have the style of an anime.
We've had like Korean and Chinese series come through, and those are. I mean, I still think of them as anime, but because they're on the anime fucking apps, but.
So it has to come from Asia.
This is why I want to have a discussion.
Does that make Russian cartoons anime?
Is Moomin from Russia?
I don't fucking know. What I'm saying is that this show is very stylized to the point where
where'd that penguin that say Newt Newt come from? That's an anime.
Yeah.
Anyway,
if you line this up with, you know, say you took 10 series from Japan and 10 series from a Western animation studio like America, high-end good animation.
Look, man, this is what
I would say often people might stick this one with a more Western style animation because it's very different.
Yes, it does.
Than what anime typically is.
It does look like some old school Disney shit, which I'm into. It has a very, and that style does match the manga that it's based on. But that's the thing is like there's a lot of different art styles that come through these mangas and through these animes. I mean,
yeah, what I'm saying is that you can't necessarily tell that this comes from Japan.
I suppose
if you get the English audio, you know, if the audio, assuming that all dubs across the world are good,
sure,
it's not too far to believe that this might not have come from Japan because it's like its own separate plateau, its own tier of stuff. It's kind of like Odd Taxi. Odd Taxi is an anime, but it looks very, very different.
Yes.
You wouldn't be able to distinguish, you know, where if you looked at Black Clover and you looked at Dragon Ball Z. And you looked at Fooly Cooly, you can say, yes, these are all for sure anime from Japan.
I mean, that's the thing is you're getting in here. We're not talking about like the actual like what makes anime. We're talking about just art style.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I get it.
I think that is a huge part of what makes anime.
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing is it's all down to opinion. This is why I don't want to have the discussion. Because if you ask me, fucking Avatar: Last Airbender is an anime. Fucking
that's American anime.
Fucking Hook from AEW is an anime. He's got spiky hair and he whips ass. He's an anime. Like this is the thing. Everything's an anime if it's an anime.
Okay.
I don't give a fuck.
It doesn't matter. If
Flowers of Evil doesn't look like an anime, but it's an anime. I mean, come on.
Yeah, there you go.
It's roscope.
That's what I'm saying.
I get it. I'm just saying it doesn't.
I'm saying it's easier to decide, you know, or determine where something has come from. If you are to define anime as Japanese animation,
sure,
it's usually easier. And this one does not look like many other things.
It does look really cool though.
At least if they produce over there. Over here, it's more similar to some stuff.
Anyway, my favorite character is Hilling.
Okay, I forgot you asked that. Bitch, is this even an anime?
My boy is going into the fucking rambles early, baby. Getting there early.
Oh,
all right.
Man.
Anyway, show kicks ass. Anyway, great characters, interesting story and whatnot. The whole thing ends up becoming like this journey of our two little dudes, our two little guys, Boji and Kage, as they go to try and find some way for Boji to become more powerful so that he can be a proper king, because a big thing in this show that most of the other characters force upon him is that being a king means strength. Very early he has a like sword fight with his brother where they straight up tell him like, hey, you don't fight like a king. You just straight up don't. This is not the way a king would fight his battles. Because Boji, he ain't no slouch, but his main thing is he's very fast and he can dodge real good. That ain't how a king fights, apparently.
Yeah. King whips ass.
You can't touch the boy, but
Boji
apparently
doesn't want to kill.
A king has to be on the front lines.
He doesn't even want to hurt
directly.
anybody.
He doesn't. He's a sweet little baby. So like that's the thing is they want to find a way for him to become more powerful, and along the way we get all this different backstory with these other kingdoms, perhaps rival kingdoms who may or may not have their own ideas of what's going on, a plot, a magic mirror that may or may not have some stuff to say about all this. So much backstory. I said before, they fit so much backstory into some of these episodes. Yeah. It's honestly impressive to me how like this 22-minute thing can feel like I just watched an hour worth of storytelling at points. I'm thinking one episode in particular, I believe it was episode 9, which focuses a lot on Hilling and Dorshi and their history together and whatnot. Show kicks ass.
Yeah.
Anything to add?
I think so. Ranking of Kings is a story and full of characters, a world in which, you know, like the characters you meet throughout it, and there are a lot of characters, and they do a really good job of making even the smallest characters feel important. And it's characters that, you know, it's a world of you read something initially, and then often your initial read is wrong. Not, you know, everybody that seems good is actually good. Not everybody that seems bad or evil is actually evil. They have good intentions as well. and often it's a blur between the two. Not everybody in the series, they appear weak, but maybe they're not actually weak. And then, you have moments of where characters, they find out the things that they had been needing that they didn't really need those. They just kind of wanted them.
Sure.
And then what they needed was, often the thing that they were already kind of hitting at. It's a really well told story. It's really beautifully animated. Lots of really, really good characters. No character in this, good or bad, or however you read them. It's a great gray. It's the most beautiful gray you can have because you're really led, aside from Boji aside, every other character has dirt. Every other character has good qualities. Now, where do you define them? That's really up to you. And they give you a good sense and a wide pool of information to pull from so you can make your decision.
I'm with
But
it.
At no point do any of these characters feel unimportant. At no point did I ever come across a character in the show that I was like, I could live without this character in the show.
Yeah.
They all matter. It's wonderfully done. It's truly, it is a gem. Ranking of Kings is a gem, and you absolutely should watch it.
It's really rad.
Yeah. I have no actually I can make some critiques here and there.
Sure.
But I have no truly bad things to say about it. Whenever my biggest complaint is I wish it had a few more episodes.
Yeah.
That's good, man, because I really do wish. I can't wait. They had announced, I believe, that they are doing a season 2.
Hell yeah.
Just no date for when it'll be. It'll probably be a while.
Yeah, probably.
But God, it is really, really worth a watch. And they button up the first season so well. They leave enough that you want more.
Yeah.
The show is so good that you just naturally want more, but they leave enough strings open to, a season 2 down the line. If the show, it kind of feels like the show is a chance that they took.
Sure.
And it paid off big time because it's a wonderful show, and I think a lot of people really appreciate it. I see, only good things about it. Or, people trying to say that some trash anime is better than Ranking of Kings. But those people don't matter anyway.
Wow. Yeah, man. Feels good. Do you want to get into some spoilery territory now?
Sure, man. Let's talk some spoilers.
All right. Gigantic spoiler alert. Roger may or may not remember to put a skip 2 on the screen. He almost certainly will forget. So,
hey, man, I have to do my editing, and usually I hope to get it done in one day. Everything edited in one day.
Yeah.
So by the time that fourth hour rolls around, I'm just ready to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. So we're about to hit it. If you listen beyond this and you have not watched this show, you take your enjoyment and your life into your own hands. And I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I feel like a lot of you probably have already seen this show. So,
and if you haven't, check it to hell
check it out now. Don't listen anymore.
All right. Here we go. All right. So here, if I were to have any criticisms of this show, it would definitely be some of the stuff that happens in the set. I feel like the first half is basically golden. We didn't even talk about the intro and outro, but all of them kick ass.
Oh, the second intro?
Second intro is incredible.
Fucking amazing.
And the first one was incredible. Yeah. I'm shocked by how good both of them were. But the second one gets the edge for sure.
It slaps, dude.
Oh, it whips ass.
And the animation, just the way they do it.
Everything.
It really hit that season 3 of My Hero Academia,
Yeah.
Like that's a top tier opening. This is maybe even better than that.
Yeah. And the fact that it's like, I don't know if you caught some of the stuff. I'll talk about it in a second, but some of the stuff that happens in that second intro, once you're watching the show later on, you realize like this was that moment.
Yeah. I watched all that shit.
Oh, so good. So any criticisms I have would definitely be of the second half. I feel like the second half is still very good. Has a better intro, which is great. But there are moments, I feel like dealing with Oaken as a character, cool as I found Oaken, which he's a bit of a piece of shit, but dealing with that dude took a while. I feel like maybe it dragged a little bit, but it was still good. We can get into the controversy corner right here because I feel like I have to bring this one up.
Just for the record, I liked Oaken. I thought I thought that whole arc and him acting as the big bad was pretty good. And he's, once again, another really good character.
I'm with you, but also it just kept going.
Yeah, because you can't fucking beat his ass.
Yeah, that's kind of the point. I get it, but yeah. Maybe I felt the time passing a little different as I was watching it week to week, and you were able to sit down and like slam through.
Yeah, because the main fight was only a couple episodes.
But
I watched Dragon Ball Z, bitch.
Let's get into controversy corner. There's a bit in here where there's an extended part of this second half where they go into this backstory of not just the characters, but now the world and how that determines and influences some of the stuff with the characters. Specifically, there is a whole race of people called the Yakuza, who are depicted as these inherently deceitful people who this other group of like wizards called the Homa are like trying to help, and those wizards are being taken advantage of. Now, let's stop right there for a second and say, you got a whole group of people, this whole nation / race of people who we're saying are inherently deceitful. Ooh, that sounds gross. First of all, sounds real gross. And then as the story progresses, like, and it explains what happened to all these people, basically those folks turn on the Homa, even though they were building schools and hospitals and shit for them. And later on, like, they basically, you know, history's written by the winners, and they are viewed as the good people, and those wizards were the assholes. Cleverly forgetting to explain to everyone, well, why did they build y'all schools and hospitals? And shut the fuck up, man. They were bad guys. All right. So that's weird. Mm-hmm. It for the history of the show, we're laying out the, you know, cosmology of this world. I understand how it's easy to like draw black and white, and here's how this happened, but it feels weird. It feels a little weirder when you read up about some of the stuff about that specific part, particularly how if you look at some of the art and then you look at this part gets kind of gross. Sorry. You look at photos of I'm not a student of history, but I'm going to read this as best as I could. The Japanese colonization of Korea, and how a lot of the talking points between these two nations pretty much directly mirror the stories that, like, you know, the right-wing folks that are like, yo, the colonization, what we did over there in Korea was good, actually. It sounds an awful lot like the same story, and how some of the art, I'm going to show Roger a thing here, looks an awful lot like photos taken straight from that time period.
Yeah, it does.
It gets a little gross. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, neither of us are Japanese nor Korean, so we can't really make any judgment calls. Do some research, see how you feel about it. I have seen people say, hey, that's fucked up, and it definitely looks like that. And I've seen other people say, like, who are Japanese and or Korean, look at that and say, I didn't get that at all, but you pointed out, sure, I guess you could make that parallel.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the controversy corner. I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. There it is.
I think it really would take with, you know, talking to the designers of the show.
Yeah, obviously.
Because sometimes, you know, designs are derivative of what you've seen in history, what you know have. Not necessarily that you're taking a side. Not the intention. But you have the style is already implanted in your brain.
Yeah, you could definitely I could see using these as parallels. It is not unlike how they had to change the name of a scientist in MHA, the villain scientist, because whether meant to or not, it was a reference to some really fucked up shit from
or Tokyo Revengers, the removal of the swastika.
Similar thing, yes. Stuff happens.
Yeah.
We are a couple of rowdy foul-mouthed American cowboys. This is not our realm, but you must be aware of these things.
I would say that I'm pretty open-minded, and I typically err on the benefit of the doubt because I want to
you want to like the show.
Yeah, I want to like the show. I want to believe in the people.
I still do like the show.
Yeah. But, I mean, that has bit me in the ass a whole lot of times.
Oh, it can happen. Listen, like, I like the show. I don't know about none of the people that made it. I like the show. Yeah. That's all I can really, you know, attest to.
Yeah.
Lastly, the last bit of stuff from the second half that I will talk about that kind of was meh. Me and Roger already talked about a little bit with Kat. The very ending. So here's the thing is I've read a quote, and I don't have the quote in front of me, so forgive me, I'm paraphrasing, but my understanding is that the writer of the manga and the series and everything wanted this to be akin to the fairy tales that they liked as a child. And in those fairy tales, and granted, this is not like, we're not going to the original Grimm stories or nothing, which were very dark and had very dark morals. We're not even going to like a Disney movie where the villain gets their comeuppance pretty much 100% of the time. This guy said, I want it to be one where everyone has a happy ending. Now, in doing so, you are going to see some people, and I said before in the rambles, it's hard to say exactly who is the villain. I feel like you can definitely say, again, giant spoilers, there's a character, Miranjo, who is for sure responsible for a lot of this. Bose is for sure responsible for a lot of this. Both of them together, more or less, are the bad part of this show. The bad guys. But, you know, one of them gets basically to pass on into the next life, and literally you see the motherfucker standing there with a ghost of his wife, his first wife. And then another one is more or less forgiven, redeemed, and proposed to by a 12-year-old?
Mm-hmm.
Who she basically, I know you don't agree with the terminology, I'm gonna say it, basically borderline groomed this dude, perhaps not into being a lover, but certainly into feeling enough affection for her that she would trust him and go with her plan.
Yes. And you know, yeah, grooming I think is
it's maybe the wrong term, but it is the term I'm going to use. Sorry.
Yeah, it's more like she's, you know, molding him into becoming a vessel.
I feel like that's a 6 1/2 dozen.
Grooming has a sexual nature.
That's borderline, baby. That's borderline.
Grooming has I think
inherently
has
sexual nature. I would not
yes.
necessarily disagree with that, but I'm still gonna say it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
If she's like, oh, you know what? I always wanted that 12-year-old penis.
I'm gonna get that blonde dick. Oh fuck. That would be weird. That would be a bit too much. And I will say, I feel like I will cut the show enough slack to say that like this is a child proclaiming affections for an adult. The adult does not necessarily return those. She's mostly just like, y'all ain't gonna kill me. Like she's just crying with joy that
yes, but
yeah. I mean, it's some shit. I don't know. You can even like point at like Bose and Miranjo's relationship, as I was saying earlier with you before we started recording, where like it starts out as like this grown man pitying and basically adopting a child, and then that child growing up into an adult who, whether or not these feelings are reciprocated, is deeply in love with Bose.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and again, it's honestly, this is shit we see in anime all the time. This is definitely an anime, but you know. It definitely elicits a side eye, and I think that's justifiable to like look at it and be like, that said, I still love this fucking show, so I can't really argue it too hard.
Yeah, it's definitely strange.
Yeah,
it definitely has moments. It was a strange call.
Yeah,
but you know, overall, you know, like they didn't get married immediately. His mother was like, huh?
Yeah, she literally was like,
that was also me.
Yeah, I think my favorite was someone did the old, you've seen the Batman meme where Robin's like, hey, what are you gonna get your parents for Christmas? And he's like, slaps him, my parents are dead. Somebody did that one, but it's Hilling slapping the shit out of him saying, you're 12! Like, it's so fucking good. But yeah, to me, I feel like I did read some opinions that people were like, yo, this ending kind of ruined the show for me. I disagree wholeheartedly. I feel like the ending still works, particularly since that's not the ending. There is more show, but I will say it skews me a little bit. It would be like, if I may, it would be like if I pulled up in just a slick ass Lamborghini cherry paint. Ooh, it's so sexy, but also the wheels are different sizes. It's a little lopsided, and the radio only blares one song. You cannot change it, and that song is hurdy-gurdy, no matter what. So like, man, this is great. That's a little weird.
Yeah.
But this is great. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, you know, like everybody's definitely entitled to their opinion. If you're ruining it for you, man, that sucks. I think that this is a good example of it's cartoons, baby. Just let it be the cartoons.
And I'm gonna give you this one. No matter how badly you may feel about some of the stuff that happened in the ending, certainly, as I said, I have issues with the second half of this show. No matter how bad you feel about that ending, it ain't Wonder Egg. So yeah. I'll fucking take it, baby.
No, I actually thought they had a great ending. Yeah. Like I said, I think it tied everything up very well.
Yeah, and still gives you enough thread to sew in that next bit.
Yeah, and we'll see, you know, whenever it comes out where Miranjo and Dida are.
Yeah.
You know?
And where my boy Boji is. Because he's going to go do his own thing, it seems like. It definitely... I'm never going to say this is a bad show, because even as those episodes were airing and I was watching them and I was having my opinions and forming my side eyes, I was still like super into it, and I am still super into it. Yeah. The show just really kicks a lot of ass. I'm sorry.
I have no, like I said, I can't think of a single reason why somebody shouldn't watch this.
Yeah. Got anything else to say about Big Boy?
So maybe there are times that I feel like the show moves a little too fast.
Yeah, I was gonna say the episode 3 like is an early one, and I think is a very good episode, but it does like boom, 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 boom.
The series itself is 23 episodes. Why can't you just make it 26?
Yeah.
That extra little time to breathe would have done wonders for it, I think.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe.
And then, but you know, I'm not going to get into what I won't get into this is the culture of creating anime and the work rate and, you know, having to work more. I'm not going to attempt even try to. What I would prefer in an ideal world is they just take their time and it's done when it's done.
I would.
But yeah.
Feels like it would be good for pretty much everyone, but gotta get that paper, baby.
And then one of the other nitpicks that I could have is that the show really doesn't often feel like the stakes are high enough. Because every single character that dies is brought back to life.
Not everyone, but most of them, yes.
Yeah, okay, there are a couple of villains that I can think of offhand.
And there's also, I mean, there's characters who are already dead when the show starts.
Yeah.
Who you then get to see throughout it. There is,
and obviously Boss gets across to the other side. But you know, you would think that from the first episode or so he was already gone.
Yeah.
So
it really, I don't know, man.
It's not. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Yeah, that
but
guy dies twice, huh?
Huh? Yeah. The snake dies twice too.
Oh yeah.
Which is you're like, well, you just revived the snake for it to fucking get killed. That's torture.
Okay, but you would have been fucking pissed if that snake stayed dead.
Actually, no, I would not have been. I wouldn't have been that mad. It would have been upsetting to me. It would have been a moving moment.
Okay.
You know, but I would not have ticked away from that.
Okay.
Because this is a snake that was in a fight. It was defending, you know, somebody, you know, close to them.
Okay.
And whenever you defend somebody close to you, you do put your life on the line. Now, Wonder Egg, the difference there is just how overly cruel it is. How far out of their way they go to be fucking overly cruel.
Yeah.
I think there's a big difference.
I'm with you.
But maybe in season 2, maybe stakes, maybe. I don't want it to feel like the Marvel Universe or a comic book where, you know, like, oh, they die, but it ain't forever.
Yeah. I don't know how this just crossed my mind, but I'm just gonna say this and let it be in the universe. I'm sure someone already had this thought. This is basically like a fantasy anime version of Steven Universe, because one criticism of that show is that that people have is that this little chubby curly haired kid, sound familiar, is so sweet that everyone, even the villains, end up getting redemption arcs and becoming his friends. Yeah, kind of hard to argue.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, but I think that this is it's a fine enough setup. It's good enough to get people in. They wanted to give people the happy endings.
Yeah,
it did a really good job.
I get it.
And you know, I think moving forward, you could play with that a little bit.
Yeah,
you could really, you know, make it seem like, okay, the first season was tough for Boji, but now it's really, that was just the beginning. Now he's out in the world, and you know, things are not, you don't have the healing lady with you all the time.
There's gonna be a bit
and
more
Boji's
to it.
little heart breaks, man, and it is sad. It is emotional whenever that happens.
Yeah. Didn't you love seeing him as a little baby?
Dude, that shit is my favorite. His stupid, goopy ass little fucked up snaggletooth face.
I love those scenes.
I'm gonna get that fucking tattooed on my arm.
When fucking Hilling like is trying to like, you know, make friends with her new stepsons, and she's like looking at him, haha, you want some cake? And he's like, and just freaks out and runs away.
Yeah.
It's so fucking
And
good.
she turns her head for a second, he's fucking done snagged that cake and he's off.
Cake and just chopped. Just took the fuck off.
He got those little fucked up little teeth in his mouth.
Because he wanted to eat it with his mommy.
Yeah.
Not his stirrup mom.
Yeah. It looked like he's got little glass shards in there or something.
So good.
It's wonderful, dude.
His little runny nose. His kid's adorable.
His face is just so damn lumpy and fat.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is so I haven't read any of his manga. I don't read manga, but
I don't think it's released here yet. So.
Oh no, but you can find like a little bit of it.
Yeah, because you know I was trying to order that shit for the store.
Yeah, I know you was. Hey, if we get a big collection, I'll probably check it out. But the art style in the manga does seem a little bit different.
Darling?
Oh God, the art style in the manga is a little
shrink wrap.
a little lumpier than the actual show. I feel like the show really smoothed out some of the character designs a little bit. But yeah, man. I mean, I know we already talked about like the art of this thing, but it is fucking glorious. Yeah. Just if you need any examples, I feel like we're out of spoiler territory. If you need any examples of how good this art looks, just check out just the last 5 minutes of episode 1, that where Daida is having a training sword fight with I don't remember the name, the sword boy.
Domus?
Domus. Yes, Domus. Yeah. It's just so fucking good.
It whips ass, dude. It whips ass.
It's that fucking moment where he like shakes his face and you see his cheeks just fling sweat off. I'm like,
yeah,
man, this show's good. All right, so we said we weren't going to do a full-on rating, but we would both call it animes.
Yeah, we call it
If you had to, without going through the whole thing, if you had to put a number on it,
I would put it at, it would either be a 9.5 or a 9.
Yeah, I think I would say same. I think I'd go 9.
Yeah, you know, knowing me, I would cut the difference and be 9.25.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah, there you go.
You probably would. But
even
yes,
after we're not doing scores, I'm still annoying Brandon with it.
It's fucking up there, baby. The show kicks ass. The show kicks so much ass. But yeah, are we done?
I think we're done, dude.
I think we're done talking about it. Are we doing a ramble now?
You
can cut that if you need to.
Yeah, we don't have to cut it. We could do a small one if you want to. If not, you know,
I'm down. I got stuff I can talk about.
Next time.
Oh baby,
we're gonna start doing our thingy bobber.
I'm down. I'm with it.
Okay.
Next time we are gonna be talking about a show that I was personally challenged. I was challenged by the man sitting before me with his Junji Ito Misfit shirt.
This is the weakest of my trials.
Oh yes, this is only step 1. Next I must fight the Nemean lion and capture the golden stag.
This is the offering that I have. Like, I think Brandon, give him enough time, we'll finish this.
Yeah.
Now there are some that have come around. I'm like, I don't know.
Has he already started?
Yeah. Maybe. Has he already finished it?
Well, that would be some shit.
Yeah.
No, he is not. But
I'll have to flip it on like Cat Watch.
I have been personally challenged by Roger to watch a show that I've heard a lot about. I've heard it was very good, but I've never actually checked out. But Roger did, and he enjoyed it. And so I've been challenged to watch The Ancient Magus's Bride, which is a show that just based on the first 6 words of the description, I would definitely look at and say, nah, I'm good.
There's that side eye.
A girl sells herself into slavery. That's 6 words.
Yep.
I'm pretty much out. But
big side eye.
Again, from this is one that I actually, before I started watching, I went and I read a couple of reviews. I was like, I know there's people whose opinions I respect. One of them, the very first thing they say is look, I get it. This is gonna be a hard sell, but trust me, if you get through the first few episodes of this and you get into the actual show, get past the first little bit of that synopsis and watch it, you're gonna have a good time. It's amazing and beautiful. And I was like, you know what? I've heard this a whole bunch. So I have, I'll just tell you, I have started watching it. I'm in right now.
Okay.
So we're gonna be talking about that one next time, which Hopefully it'll be 2 weeks from now.
Yeah. And there are some rough scenes coming up in that show.
Because 3 weeks from now, I'm going to be on a little vacation. Woohoo.
Finally.
Vacation, all I ever wanted.
Spring break.
No. Me and the girl taking a little trip with some friends with some of her friends.
Yeah.
Well, her friend and her friend's boyfriend, I don't need to talk about.
Yeah.
We're going to be taking a little trip to out of state to have a little fun.
Nice.
So that'll be fun. But yeah, so hopefully we can get to this in 2 weeks time. I think that'll work out.
Yeah,
I'll need to look at the schedule, but I think that'll work out. And yeah, it's going to be a good old time. Ancient Magus's Bride. Again, probably not a full-on review, just a discussion. My opinions as a first-time watcher, and Roger's is a long time.
You know, and we're gonna have the question. You know, like how much of this were you able to watch? Do you plan to watch more? Yeah. These are going to be fun because even if you don't have time, you don't have to finish it. But if you do finish it, that's going to be special.
I will tell you, my intention is to watch the full series.
Okay.
That is my intention. At least for full season, obviously.
Here's the thing, because
I know
I want to get to the point where I give you some experimental ones that maybe you don't finish that shit.
You're going to make me watch Flowers of Evil, I know it.
Maybe that one might come up, but I mean, I can think of one for sure. Me and my good buddy Allie were talking about.
Okay, well, don't tell me now because we haven't even got through this one, but I'm nervous.
But, you know, like, yeah. I mean, I don't know that you'll make it past the first episode.
It's Goblin Slayer, isn't it?
No, God, no. Goblin Slayer is actually a good one to do. I think I would just tell you to start on episode 2.
All right. Can I... You know a thing I found out today? I'll talk about it. I'll tell you in the ramble.
Yeah.
That's a little preview for y'all.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
I'll give you the full breakdown of that one before you even go into it. Yeah, I won't tell you what happens or whatever, but I will tell you the themes to expect.
Boys got me hyperventilating already. All right. Well, we're going to bust on out of here into the ramble. Thank you so much for listening. If you're on the YouTube, please like, subscribe, and click that bell so we can send you some notifications. Check out all the links in the description. We'll have the full plugs at the end of the ramble. But for now... we need to go ahead and get to it, so love you.
Love you.